Welcome to Marvin's Customs. I wanted to work with you today on when you build any of these Pro 4 magnet cars. This is a 3.7 arm, and it's 17-degree timed. You can kind of see how that's been turned away instead of being straight between your plates. So this is an old batch of arms, not old as in 30 years old, just recently, kind of like leftovers or whatever. And I ended up picking all of these up. I have 2 left out of, 35 armatures. But this particular car, I went to do some dyno runs with all the G Pluses that I've built, and when I went to look into the case for these cars, most of them are just chassis, no bodies on them yet, that sort of thing. All the Pro 10 cars have been sold, so I got to do a batch of Pro 10. But in the meantime, I went to run this car, and we were dead in the water. So I think I know what's wrong with it, and it has to do with heat. It also has to do with how we run these cars on these dynos. So the first thing I'm gonna do is turn my voltage down. Let's go to battery voltage. 9 volts, somewhere close to that. And then I'll show you what I found. One of the things that I'm finding is running, if you're going to run this dyno, I highly recommend these dynos because they have everything. You'll have dynos that just show you output voltage, and they're showing you 21 volts. That's completely wrong. If your car was running at 21, putting out 21 volts of power, you would be doing like 110 miles per hour, like 1-to-1 scale. Like this car, you couldn't even keep this car on the track. So that's kind of an oddball number some of these put out, but right around 1 to up to 2 is very well. And if you build enough of these, sometimes you hit the mark. I mean, I hit it with magnet tractions that I build, and it just blows your mind. And your amp draw is under 0.5. So I've had some that are outputting 1.8, 1.9 volts, but they're only drawing 0.3 amps. So, but this is the most comprehensive dyno that I have come across. This one is a new one for me, and it's got some newer features and stuff like that when you call to order these now through Joey Cantle, there is a dynamite page. You can pre-select now some options regarding like your power tap hookup and then your controller hookup over here. And my suggestion was, it's too many options. So say like the Tyco plugs, most of us do not use an AFX remote, but at least offer it. But you don't have to do all 3 of each. I'm never gonna put an AFX, now that I have this Tyco or AFX, any kind of power source. So, but one of the things I learned is this drag switch right here. You don't want to just click this on at 22 volts and run your car for 7 minutes. And I think that's what's happened to this. Was me just blindly, I'm learning just like all of you. So what I do now is I'll hook up here to my Delfeco, or we always get that wrong, the DD505. I'll clip on this and I'll envision my test track, and I know my test track from doing so many laps on it. So it's kind of like you just hear clicking and you're running it, and then you're going down a straightaway. What you do is you just take your phone and record all of this data, and then you can run it for let's say 30 seconds or so at that 22 volts or 18 volts or whatever. But obviously flicking this switch and letting it run for 10 minutes, you're not doing that on your track. So it's kind of like, my advice is plug your controller in, whether it be AFX, Tyco, or a professional remote. These two switches run off 9-volt batteries, and that just powers all your lights for the front panel here, side panel. So anyway, I think what I did was I can look at the commutator, but let's give it a go at 9 volts to see what happens. Look at the watts in the amp draw. That's way above 0.5. I don't care if it poofs or anything. Like I said, we're going to do some changes here until we get it running. But you try to spin the wheels and like it wants to go, but it's not. See the difference in the amps once I just spin the wheel? It's not drawing. Those brushes are not touching that commutator at all. So it's like we definitely have some kind of problem. And she's getting hot too. So put this on the cooler here. So what I have is shut that down. When you run the cooler feature, there's a little fan here with a switch. Your fan's here. You can turn your voltage up at that point to 22 volts. Don't go over that 22, but it'll make the fan run cooler and help cool the car down. We can actually watch, it's this one. You can watch that number go down or whatever if you want to. So let's dig into this. Let's see what we can do to kind of fix this car up here. But there's a couple things I want to check first, and I do not have every single tool laid out on the bench right now. I've got a couple of cars from another series that I haven't put out yet for you guys. That's our Pro 4 build. Just wanted to do a video on this. So the first thing you want to do is check your brushes and see if you got a broken brush. Hope you can hear me over the fan. So it's going to be one of the first things that we do. Grab a couple tools here and set them aside. So anyway, while that's cooling, we'll bring our little work plate over here. And kind of, if you are doing these builds and you're looking for motors that are brand new, I've got 2.4 and I've got 3.5 ohm that I bought in bulk, and in theory the more you buy the more you save kind of thing, but at the same time I can sell them for like $4. So if you're interested in that you can just PM me or go to my Facebook page and PM me there, Marwood's AFX. And let's see if this is cool enough to, okay, we're good. So what I like to normally do is have a little build box to tear all this stuff down, but we have spare parts. You get this off here. Sometimes you'll even see the spring for the shoe like melted in this hole. I've seen that. If you have ever any problem with your car and it stops on the track, or tester, dyno, whatever, kill your power. I'm going to turn this voltage back down. They're on 10 volts or so. So when we put this back up, we'll 11 volts. So looking at the armature, we'll zoom in, you can see the burn. Now, brand new car. So I had built I think 8 of these and then started the testing process, and was kind of waiting to do a series where we go live and show you guys all that stuff. There is a way, by the way, when you're doing these, let me get back here. There is a way to get your magnets out of your G Plus and this never has to move. So I can kind of show you what I do. You just start with one side, and I'm trying to work with the camera, but you just push up on the back, and these guys should, one by one, you kind of roll them over the side of that armature real gently, and you'll get your old magnet out, and just change one at a time. Pull your plate up, and this whole thing should come out, and then just change your magnet, change them one at a time. So then you can just snap, line this bearing back up, snap that back in, you're good to go. So if you want to use your stock motors with these Pro 4s, you can try. I've had 100% failure rate with them, but you may be running at 12 volts or something you're happy with, and you won't have that problem. So you can put those back together and be good to go. So one of the first things we're going to do is get this over here where you can see it, and we'll pop out this armature and see. Yeah, it looks like I can already tell. I think I have a dead spring, so it overheated immediately and fried this guy. So we'll go ahead and get this cleaned up, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I've got the commutator cleaned, the shim removed, and we'll go ahead and set this in our tester. The only thing I can tell you is look on eBay if you want one of these. They're like $50. They're not the cheapest in the world. So we're at 6.3 ohms. It's reading a little high. So I may end up just go ahead and changing armatures after, but let's see if, I would say with these Pro 4s, 5.8's as high as you want to go, and I don't know why this would be reading that high. So I'll have to check my other ones which I know I have, and they come in at 3.7. So we'll look into that one. So again, I'll be right back. Okay, So we're back. I've got that, these arms, like I was talking with Hardin Creek Slots out of Florida, and I was talking with Terry about these cars, and he's like, you can just cut the arm down. If you've replaced your tires, these are from Racer 88. Used to be Racer 8888. Now it's 8838, or I've just not been seeing the 3, but these are their soft compound. Let's take those off, because as we're working with such a soft tire. They do over time kind of get warm and start to mold to these wheels, but I don't want to see you ruin your tires, so just take those off, kind of move them out of the way. But see if we can zoom in on this. You can see how this brush is kicked over, and see how that spring was sticking. This spring got hot, which is the most common side. Remember I mentioned the part about burning a hole? They do melt, so we go back to what most of us will refer to as the nightmare of taking these off. They're not that bad, everybody. They're pretty easy. Just make sure your shoes and springs are off, and then we'll go ahead and get these off. And kind of like to start by just giving that a little, you'll feel a one snap. And what we don't want to do is shoot springs across the room, because we want to see our problem area. So yeah, that spring is definitely dead. So you won't be able to see this part, but just remember the snap. And then you can go under your plate here. Kind of keep that straight. And just go under, and you'll feel the second snap. And that helps keep the plate straight for future reinstallation. So, if they don't go in, then they don't go in, but this is just how I've been doing them. And sometimes they fling across the room, but don't worry about it, I just found it. You don't know how many times I get phone call or messages, I guess, and then phone calls, and it's like, I just shot those across the room. And so these, what I do, if you want to get back to 0.5 here on the camera so you can see. There we go. So these, what I do is take this actual screwdriver and I'll push down, and this gets you about 50% close to what this looked like when you went to install it. Now while I'm holding it, I'm going to take my thumb and just push on that back plate a little bit, just a smidge. And now it's going to look pretty darn close to how you bought it. You see why? So when you go back down in the hole, the plate up front here is going to go up. And then as you get your barrel in, you can just take your thumb and snap it in back into place. So, but we'll get to that barrel here in just a second. I got that backwards. But again, these cars are just, they're the coolest, man. I've seen a photo today Viper had put up, and those motors, that the video I did with that Lexan body car that somebody put posts on and everything, I guess those were called an RO, Robert Oscar motor. Not made by Robert Oscar, just RO. I don't know what that means, but they're the ones that had the rope on them. And I have one, and I did the video with that Porsche body where that thing is like absolute fastest G Plus I've ever seen. And Okay, so we have the shoe that came off this side. That's pretty, you can see the shiny that either broke during installation. Kind of hard to say, but that thing is toast. So we'll go ahead and change those. More concerning to me is the spring. As I've mentioned a million times, toothpicks are your best friend when it comes to these cars. And any car with a open barrel design for holding springs, trying to snatch out a spring that's possibly toast, not to worry. Oh yeah, it collapsed, 100% collapsed. So this is what happens when, I'll try and get this one out. And set these down by each other where you can see. Like I said about the messaging, this is part of it, is like all these tiny springs, and all you do is go to touch it, and sometimes it just sticks to you, or it just goes flying because you touched it. So anyway, let's just move on here. We'll grab a spring, but as you can see how short that is, that collapsed. So high heat on one side, could have been a broken brush, and it was arcing between the two broken. So let's just go ahead and get that pitched, and we'll go on the drawer here and get this back, get this put back together. So G Plus drawers, barrel brushes. You know what, they may be out. There's the springs, this should be the brushes. So I do keep, these are springs as well. Let's look for the brushes. Quite a few of these in stock for that reason. Okay, sorry about that. I had to talk with the wife for a minute. So we got a lot of oil and stuff in here. Go ahead and clean all that out. And these cars were all, like I said, they were all new, refurbished, new, cleaned up by me. So this might have been me oiling it to just try and get this thing going, and not knowing, you know, it was toast. So clean up this area too. It's a good thing to keep this stuff clean, because if you do have a problem, you can put on your sexy spec high definition magnification goggles, and you'll be able to see a lot more. I've talked with a lot of people in this hobby, man. It's one of the first things they ask is if you don't have magnification right now, like, I can't talk to you, I can't help you through this problem or whatever. So I've used them since day one. Probably one of the first things I picked up was, and it's not because I have poor normal vision, it's I have poor, I can't see that tiny spring vision, which a lot of you might go through the same thing. I like to go from right to left. So toothpick it, get that put in there. Don't jam it down in, just set it in, take your finger and remove it. And we'll get right to the fun part here, which I hope we're still in frame. I apologize about that. Like, I'm not real big on filming. If you're new here, there's other videos that are geared exactly towards the beginner, where I really get into this stuff and really kind of describe every little point to point. But as we go here, the next series is a Pro 4 build. This is a Pro 4 car, but I did an actual comprehensive build with a body and everything, and there's kind of a surprise I did with the body. It's something new I'm trying in the paint world. We'll start with our magnets and get this stuff put in. I see like a piece of debris or something there. Yeah, it's a little piece of the magnet that got scratched. So these normally have a silver stripe, but they also put a white dot. So if you ever get in a position where you're like, I don't know which magnet goes where, aim everything the way that it's going to go, and then this is going to go on your right. This dot has to line up with your crown gear. So you can always paint that as well. They put like a dash with probably Sharpie or something. It's not, anything crazy or whatever, but you can always paint them, and sometimes I do. It just depends. So we've got this guy upside down. These cars are like a lot of parts. That's the coolest look ever when you're putting a car together. Just kind of throwing that out there. I think that bounced into my little tray under my phone. So we'll go ahead and get back in frame here. So let me look. Okay. One thing I did notice with the motor is always make sure these little plastic shims are in, and you may have to add more. I'll show you that as well. I've showed it in other videos, but just kind of keep your work at you. Aim it up if you don't want that bearing to fall into your tray on your phone like I did. And I just kind of align things as we kind of wiggle these magnets in. This bearing doesn't have to be square. It's going to roll around as you go. You're just getting everything seated. And they do make bands for these. I'll put one on this one here shortly. But we'll start with a shoe and a brush. Sorry, I have a horrible habit of that. Probably because I'm not 35 years into the hobby of experience, and it drives those guys nuts when you don't call stuff by its proper terminology. But like I said, the reason why I do what I do is people in this hobby have kind of neglected this car. It's just that, like, bastard child of, or the Gen X. It's the Gen X car. So check our spring tension one more time. Bring the work to us. And I'm going to slide that through as gently as I can. Hold on there, Bessie. Okay, so that came out. Let's flip that. Like I said, man, you'll see it in my other videos. There's times where these go right in, and then there's times where they're a nightmare. So just be patient. Can't preach the patience part enough. Be patient. your brushes are going to fall out, and you have to recheck and make sure the spring didn't go with it or shoot across the room. So that's why I highly recommend like a work tray. The one that I would normally be using is tied up with a job that I really need to get finished. And I got until October to get that done for the Ohio show. I'm going to bring some work, some chassis and whatnot, and our shoe fell out. Get back in there. Get back in there. Bring some of the chassis and things that I've done, and some of the most showier stuff, stuff that I've polished and chromed and all that good stuff. So you want to gently push that, and you'll feel the barrel. Trying to move my finger, but I need to have it right there. So this is where your toothpick's your buddy, and you can just push on that barrel, and you'll see where the barrel went through, and there's a stopper right there. That's what you want to see, and this is the point where you can literally like snap that back in. So we got really lucky being able to reuse an old brush. And then if you take the tip of the brush, I'm trying to do this backwards, but you see how that's moving? You want that to do. So it's like a free floating system that Aurora had designed. I didn't design it, don't blame me. A little Tyco spring in here. Thank God for little trays underneath your phone. Alright, so we'll go here and we'll start on number 2. So I think the problem we had here was maybe 2 things. Too high of an ohm reading, which does happen, I don't know, 5% of the time. So we'll go with this Hardin Creek 3.5 ohm. I like variety, so I'm not building one for, race car speed or whatever. Let me pull that out. I need to kind of tweak that a little bit. Get that partially popped down. It's sitting on the back here, so we'll grab our screwdriver and get that a little pry forward. I really don't want that on there. Let's see how much I pried on this. Okay, I can see what I did. So again, just we're spreading that apart, but not bending it. Like, as soon as you bend these back and forth 6 times, once, with the repops that are done today, it's toast. Chances are it'll snap. If it snaps, it's not going to conduct electricity the proper way, and then you're done. So let's get that in there. Okay, that's better. Like I said, we kind of want that tilted back for now, so we'll get this in. And what I'm watching for right now is that brush. I don't want it to break. I just want to get that little part of the brush barrel to snap past that plate, which it is, and then we can hold, turn, and snap that right back into place. So we're doing good. The hard part's done. So we'll snatch up a couple shoes here. Today's episode is brought to you by, Big D's Lube. Daniel Breyer used to sell lube, and I bought a couple bottles of it from him. And it's great for everyday running and all that stuff, or even an assembly lube. Some of the stuff I do, I go with synthetic, actually brake caliper, Permatex. It's actually green in color. Let's pull this off. I forgot one small detail with you guys is to get these kind of matching straight across there. So I had one that was tilted back, and I could tell by how much I had to pull on that shoe to get it to go in. And we'll see if we have a running car after we lube it. But I'm not sure if you can buy that lubricant online or have to buy it straight through Daniel, but we'll just go ahead and put a little dab on the front. That went right across the gear. That applicator's kind of a little. Those come with your dyno, and I may just have really thin oil. If you're gonna lube your car, I've done videos on that as well, where you're gonna lube front axles, rear. This car's been lubed half to death, so I can see lube back there. It's never really been ran on the track. So we'll just run that back and forth, and we'll get kind of everything switched back on here. And like I said, for braking in, you don't need to have a controller. There is a switch on the side panel here. Let's see if she runs. You'll start to see this number climb. This should climb with it. Let's break it in to let it run. We're at 40 minutes. This will take like an hour to download tonight, but I'll put this up today. It's first thing in the morning here in Michigan, but I found this last night, and they sit on my bench, and I can't stand it. I want to fix it, figure it out. So these cars with these magnets and gears and what brushes to use and what springs has been pretty cool. Figuring out stuff, meeting new friends in the hobby that have that same passion and drive. And they're starting to put up videos, so mission accomplished in my opinion, because we brought attention back to a car that nobody wanted to pay attention to. So we're at that point where, you could turn this down to Some people do 12. Just let it break in. Some people do 9. Run on 9-volt until it dies. I don't know why you do that. $12 to break in the car, but you do that, 25 times, you could just buy a dyno. If you think about it, it's like Hobby Lobby cars. You can buy $400 in Hobby Lobby cars, or you can buy one really rare, nice car that you've always wanted. So I did it too. I went nuts with Hobby Lobby when I first got into this. I'm like, man, slot cars for $20, can't beat it. And now I'd look for friends in the hobby because every Hobby Lobby has different cars at each location, region or whatever. So I'd like to see that number better than 0.7. I'd like to see that more around, but look at that amp draw. So I just think it's a break-in thing, and we'll be doing a dyno off. We'll be doing a dyno kind of challenge here in the future anyway. So it's like when you see the yellow gear, you'll know that's the car we fixed. So there's your fixed car, and we'll get our tires put back on. These kind of gotta, you can't really push. You can push a little and then just roll, and they'll kind of go on. Really super soft. I have switched over to mediums for the builds I do for other people. They're a little bit more like the original, but these softs are pretty cool too for if you're gonna run some laps, and all of these cars do get used. So we'll do a zoom in again and kind of show you what we did. You can see the break-in starting to occur. Wasn't too bad. You can cut the arm down with your Dremel. Micrometer is your best friend. I've done so many of them now. Sorry, I just take an arm and set it next to it and just zap it. So it's like clean up your edges. So when you go to put your pinion gear in, so that I'll take over on my sand, my fine bit on my grinder, and just barely roll the corners and get that smoothed out. Into your eyeball, it'll look like a point, but it's not. So there you go. This one's done running. I'm happy. It's a gray wheel. We'll find some kind of cool body for it in the future. And in the meantime, one more fixed, one more on the road. Have a great day, everybody. Marwood's Customs out.